And a beautiful morning it is. Good morning to you. Sunshine's here with you. Well, it is Tuesday and the days are going by extremely fast, but you know what? You stepped into the right place. That is, I call it the hottest spot in town where we talk about everything and you can feel comfortable with that conversation. I encourage you every day when you step into Sunshine's Corner, be a part of the conversation. You can call us up at 850-432-7768 or you can text as well. And today it is no different. And you know, can you believe it? School's about to begin. I can't believe that. Well, maybe because I don't have a kid in the house anymore, but that's okay. But today we're going to be talking about getting the kids ready for school. Who would not, you know who I've got in with, right? You heard me talking about her yesterday. Now, Dr. Grier, yes. I mean, our pediatric professional that's here with us today, and she's going to be talking with us about everything that we need to know about getting our kids ready for school. And let me say, I know it's early in the morning, but Dr. Hall, thank you for getting up, coming out so we can share.
Well, thank you so much, Sunshine, for having me. This is an important subject we need to make sure we talk about.
Yes,
because they are going back to school, and we want to make sure they're healthy when they go back.
Yes. You know, but I can't believe it's already that time.
I know. Can you believe it? I mean, the summer went by way too fast.
We were just talking about, well, we're getting ready to get out of school, and now it's time. It's time to go back.
Every year it happens like that.
Every year. But you know what? Why it's so important that we have Dr. Hall on with us today, because there are so many things that the parents look. School begins on the 12th.
Yes, it does.
So look, you've got a week or so to get things together.
Exactly.
And listen, Dr. Hall is going to tell us something that you need to be aware of, so you'll know that your child is prepared, because they're from top to bottom, not only with the backpack.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Well, it's important, Sunshine, to make sure our children are healthy, happy, and wholesome this school year. And hopefully today I can share a few tips on things parents can do, because we believe in empowering our parents and being proactive. As pediatricians, we want to do preventive care. That's what we are about. It's making sure we prevent illness, prevent injuries. We want to prevent these things from happening. So we plan, and this is what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about some tips we can do. You know, when we talk about a child's health, it's not just their medical, their physical, their mental, their spiritual. Health involves so many aspects of that child's life, and so we want to make sure we give some tips on things parents can do.
Most certainly. And you know, she's so easy to talk to. She breaks it down so well. And you know, I'm here ready to learn so I can pass it on for a person to ask me. But listen, parents, for those who are tuned in today, make sure you tell somebody right now, if you want to know what it is that you've got to get your child prepared. We've got the professionals on with us today, and we're going to just give it to her so we can start from the top.
Yes, so from the top, you know, we talk about health. So medical. So it's important for parents, if you haven't already had your child seen by the pediatrician, go ahead and schedule that appointment. You know, that is so important to make sure your child has an annual physical. If they've had a physical in the past year, do they need another one right before school starts? No, we just want to make sure we see the children annually for a well checkup. This is when we go over, you know, making sure the child's growing well, developing well, that we're doing screening tests for the children. We're doing vaccinations.
Ooh, yes.
So, and of course, you know, there are vaccines that are required in order for a child to go to school. So we want to make sure that children are getting in, you know, for those checkups, that they're getting those vaccines and they're getting them on time. So that's going to be the very first thing. And there, you know, of course, lots of vaccines out there, many, many more than when we were young.
Absolutely. So, we were talking about that.
We were. And I printed out a copy of the vaccine schedule, and it can look overwhelming. However, you know, other than, you know, clean drinking water, vaccines, of course, has been the most, you know, effective public health intervention there is. You know, vaccines save lives. And so we encourage vaccines, we promote vaccines, and so we want to make sure that the children are getting those vaccines, especially the children who are going to kindergarten. They're going to be required to have vaccines before they go to kindergarten. Kids who are going into the 7th grade, you know, at 11 and 12 years of age, they have vaccines that they'll need to get as well. You know, adolescents, there are vaccines that are required for them and recommended for them, especially if some of them are going off to college. And so it's important to make sure your child is on time with their vaccines, that they're going in for their well visits. Your physician will let you know what vaccines a child is needing, but also the CDC.
I think she said, not me, I didn't know. She wants you to hold that up.
Yes, okay. So the CDC has this wonderful schedule showing a parent exactly what your child needs at what age. And we use this in the doctor's office. We encourage parents to go online. It gives information about the vaccines, what the vaccine prevents. You know, we believe in full transparency when it comes to vaccines, and so it's important for parents to be aware and
Right.
to be informed about what their child needs and get those shots on time.
Question. Okay, now there are certain requirements, right? Now that you have to have this. You cannot say, okay, well, I'm not going to get my child this vaccine this year. Is there any way around that?
Unless you have a true allergy to a vaccine, like an allergic reaction to a component of a vaccine,
Right.
we recommend getting the shots according to the CDC schedule. We
Right.
do not believe in delaying vaccines just to delay, or if there's a medical reason in terms of the child's health and
Right.
their immune system not being able to tolerate a vaccine. And
Would this
so-
not help this immune system though if you get
well,
it?
I'm
asking, look-
right. The antigens that are in the antibodies helps your body to produce antibodies, so that when your body sees that infection, you will have, you know, what you need to protect you from it. So vaccines actually help with that. But there are certain children who may have, who are what we call immune compromised, meaning their immune system may not be as strong as mine, and so they may not be able to tolerate certain ones. And so those would be the only exceptions to the rule. And I've only had, less than 5 children in 24 years where we had to deviate from the schedule because of an immune deficiency of some sort where they would not be able to tolerate it. But for the most part, you know, healthy children, they benefit from this schedule, and staying on time with this schedule is what we recommend and we promote as pediatricians.
Okay, I've got a question being asked in my ear. Say that one more time, Jennifer. The myth all about vaccines, and what should we to say about people with that?
Okay, so vaccines do not cause autism.
Thank you.
Okay, so they don't cause autism, and of course this was something that was made up, you know, years ago by a physician. He made this up and he said vaccines, the MMR vaccine, cause autism. This is not true.
Wow.
Vaccines do not cause autism, and so there are lots of myths, and that is the main one. And of course he had to retract that information, and you know, of course he was not able to practice after that, but it was it was not true.
That's right.
And of course, you know, putting it out there, once you put something out there, parents
goes.
believe it. You know, parents believe it, and so you have to be careful where you get your information from. Your resources are important, you know, because sometimes, you know, people will put something out there and you think they're credible, but they're not. And so that was a myth that was said and made up, you know.
Thanks, Jen.
You know, so yes, so thank you, Jen, for asking that. But yes, autism, you know, and vaccines, there is absolutely no association with autism.
And what I also want to encourage, because I've run into this when I mention your name, but anywhere, you are trusted. And it's so good that to see that the parents trust their children physician. And you've got that built.
Oh, thank you.
That is, no, I'm just telling you what I talk about, what I hear people that when I'm talking in the street or when I'm talking about children or what doctor do you recommend, but your name is golden.
Oh, thank you. And I you know, I believe in being honest with parents.
Right.
You know, I mean, when, especially with the autism situation, my son is
That's
autistic.
right. That's right.
You know, but he got all his vaccines and he will continue to get vaccines. You know, if I truly believe that, you know, would I be vaccinating my own child?
That's right.
You know, I believe that vaccines are extremely important for every child, you know, and I feel for parents who have children who are on the spectrum, because I am a parent, you know, with a child on the spectrum, and so I know you want to blame something, you want to blame someone, but it is not the vaccines. If anything, this will help protect your child, you know, from diseases that are still out there. You know, we still are seeing, you know, measles and other, you know, we're still seeing chickenpox. We're still seeing things that, we've definitely been able to make an improvement in, but it's still
You know,
out there.
when you say that, you took me back there, because I had literally forgotten about the measles, the chickenpox, the mumps,
all of it.
All that.
It's still out there, and there's still outbreaks, and you know, unfortunately, we're seeing it in those who are unvaccinated. Most of the outbreaks that take place, happen in children, who were not vaccinated. So
Right.
we just say, parents, get your children vaccinated, and make sure they stay on time with it. And we know, no one wants to get stuck,
Oh,
but
no.
goodness,
Get stuck. It's better to get stuck.
it's better to get stuck than to get the
Get sick.
infection. Exactly. So that is, one of the things we encourage parents as far as making sure they come in for those well visits
Right.
and those vaccines. But, making sure, parents have your children's medications ready and make sure that they're, if you need a refill on something, because there's certain medications we want
Right.
to make sure they have before they go back to school. If they have asthma, make sure they have their inhalers,
Most certainly.
for children who may.
Something else I didn't think about. See, that's
Yes.
why you're the doctor.
Well, this is our back to school mode. If you, a month before school starts, we start thinking about, okay, we're going to get the calls, we're going to get the kids in, and we want to refill those medications. Make sure you have, an inhaler that's not expired. Make sure if your child has ADHD that they have the medications that they need
Right.
to make sure that they start off the school year, focused
Right.
and ready to go.
Is there still a myth about the ADHD with the medication?
The medications are used for those who truly have ADHD. If your child is just, and we
Hyper.
do hyper, because there's ADHD and there's just hyper children,
Right.
so we do an assessment to determine if the child really is ADHD or not based on information the teacher provides, information the parent provides, and then we, sit down with the parents and we do an assessment to determine if the child truly is ADHD. And if they are, it could literally make the difference between that child being a straight A student and that child barely passing.
Wow.
If they really are. It's caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain, dopamine, norepinephrine. These chemicals are
Did you hear those words
Oh,
she
no,
just
I'm
used
sorry.
there? Dopamine,
Norepinephrine, these chemicals that are being produced in excess in patients with ADHD. And unfortunately, with those chemicals being produced in excessive amounts, the children have trouble focusing.
Right.
And so if the child really does have ADHD, talk to your child's pediatrician to see whether or not they do meet the criteria
Right.
or not. And then, they can talk with you about what the options are as far as medications.
When you are a pediatrician,
Yes.
So what age limit does that go through?
Well, okay, so typically most children with ADHD, if they have ADHD, they'll be diagnosed, early on in elementary school.
Okay.
Some children learn to focus without medication.
Okay.
Does the disease necessarily go away? Not necessarily, but some people can learn to manage without medicine.
Really?
They learn to focus and to tune in, so they can come off of medication. And some don't. Some people become adults who have ADHD, and so they go on to continue on medication. So it's one of those things where I can, when parents ask, is this something my child will need forever? I can't make that determination.
Right.
I just know at this moment in time, it's something that could benefit your child. And so at some point, if you feel like your child and your child feels like they're ready to try, discontinuing the medicine, I'm all for it. I'm like, yes, let's try it and see.
Right.
But of course, if that's something that they're not able to do and they continue to take medications as an adult, that's fine as well.
So you have adults that still
some
taking it?
some of my teenagers, they go on to college and they continue taking it because it benefits them and they know it helps them, and if that's the case, that's fine. But yes, there are adults who have ADHD, and so it's one of those things that can continue into adulthood. And if that's the case, it is definitely okay, because if it's helping you with your job, if it's helping you focus, especially my
Right.
teenagers, because if
God,
it's helping
yeah.
them to focus while they're driving, if you think about
yes.
it, because it can definitely prevent some injuries, prevent accidents. If you have a child who does have ADHD, who is, not medicated, their attention span, and
Exactly.
because I want to make sure that child is focused on what they need to be focused on, not just academically, but in terms of their sports, in terms of, just driving,
Absolutely.
So it's very important to make sure, that if you have it, and again,
To
if
get it
you have
attended,
it,
yeah.
but we don't want to just give it to children who, are just energetic, so we
I'll
want to
say
make
it for
sure.
you. Look, sometimes it's just a little bad child. Okay.
Yeah, right. Sometimes it's not ADHD, it's just BAD. And it's one of those things where back in the day, it was given to
That's right.
children who were not necessarily needing it,
That's
and
right.
so it did get a bad rep. Poor Ritalin. I remember, I was like, okay, but now we are doing a much better job of making sure we're only giving it and prescribing it for children who
really
actually need it. And we don't want a child who's over medicated. We don't want a child who's a zombie. If you have a zombie kid, then that child is on the wrong medicine or the wrong dose of medicine, or or something's not right. We do not want your child zombied out. That is not the goal with the medicine. But thank you for asking that question. That's a great question, because we want to make sure
That's right.
that they have it. And there's an assessment, a Vanderbilt or a Connors form. There's a true assessment they must have in order to make that diagnosis.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, we're talking to Dr. Grier Hall today. She's here, and look, we're going to talk about, because you've moved to another location.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about that when we come back. So you got to make sure that you get your child, if your child has not been vaccinated, if your child has not had that physical, maybe you need to call her. So stay close. We're going to talk about that when we return right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop, because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
There are many reasons someone may need in-home care, whether it may be respite care, them recovering from surgery, or having a chronic condition. Having someone dedicated and reliable is imperative. Supplemental Support Care Services was created to provide to those who are in need with quality care that they deserve in the home. Taking it a step further, our main goal is to ensure that Supplemental Support Care Services is where the love and care is top priority.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. Again, I want to remind you, if you would like to be a part of this conversation, you can do that as well. 850-432-7768. You can certainly call or text and ask your questions of Dr. Hall. Now, we've been talking about getting those kids ready for school, and whew, I remember those days.
Yes. Oh, yes.
But, there's been your transition is in the same spot. But
Yes, I am now with Pensacola Pediatrics.
Okay.
And so starting August 1st, I'll be joining their group, but in the same location.
Okay.
Right off of Airport, 5868 Creek Station Drive.
Right.
And we will be opening August 6th, and we welcome all of our, established patients, new patients. And
Right.
so we're welcoming everyone. So a week from today, we'll be
1 week from
opening, and
today.
we are so excited to be able to take care of our patients here in the Pensacola community. Dr. Dina Jaluk and I will be there at that
Exactly.
location. Mm-hmm.
And I say this, and I'm not just saying this, because even yesterday I like to bring, good morning, Catherine. But she was on with me yesterday.
Yes.
She was talking, I brought your name. She lit up.
Yes, I love Catherine.
I mean, she just lit up when I brought up your name. And I can see why, because every parent needs that person that they can talk to, that they feel comfortable enough and that they trust.
Right.
Now, let's go a little bit further. Now, let's talk about the things that we've talked about, the part with the shots and making sure the safety.
Yes.
There's a lot going on in the community.
There is a lot going on in the community.
And it is sad.
It is very sad. It's so sad, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah, yours and mine as well.
Right, because this is not what we, you know, when we let our children go out to play.
Exactly.
We assume they're going to come back home.
Exactly.
And to be a parent and to lose a child, I can't even imagine.
I think I would just lose it.
I would.
I would lose it.
You know, and why do we have guns so easily accessible? Yeah. Why? You know, and so when it comes to safety and children, you know, if you put children first,
that's
so
right.
many of the policies and rules and, you know, regulations out there would be so different. So
Absolutely, I agree.
Put the children first and their safety.
I agree.
Because it's really important that we do something. And, you know, those who can make a change need to make a change. Let's make it. Because
and I really want to say to the parents of the incident that happened on Sunday night, my heart goes out to the parents because there were 2 lives that were lost, and there was an 11-year-old that was injured as well. And because there was I think it was 2 lives lost and 7 others that were affected. But I just want to say to the parents and to those who are out there, please, let's come together as a community. We're talking about children today.
Right.
Our children are our tomorrow, but we've got to make sure that their safety, that they are safe, and that we get rid of this gun violence, so that let the violence be that we're going to yell at you that you didn't get your shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, come on, let's make it right.
Right, exactly.
And it breaks my heart with that. And that's why I was so glad that to have Dr. Hall on with us today, because when you talk about this, I think about what you've got to encounter with the parents that you see when you're seeing children every day.
Right. And so we ask questions, you know, when we talk about, you know, making sure children are wholesome, and that means safe, you know, that their home environment is safe.
Absolutely.
You know, we ask about, you know, okay, if there are guns, are they put away? Are they locked up so the children, you know, don't have access to them? Because that's so important to make sure the children are safe. We depend on the parents, you know, because as caretakers,
but of course,
you know, to make sure that home environment is safe for that child. And so there are just things that parents, you know, can do to make sure, you know, that we keep the children safe.
No doubt. And see, that's where it all comes together. I believe in the old cliche where it says, it takes a village.
It does.
To raise a child. And now that, I would think, well, I would hope that with this time, I hope that the violence, especially in our community, because we see a lot of it. I don't know whether the focus is just put there, but there's a lot there. And we as a community, parents, children, young people, we've got to stop this. Life is precious and you only get one.
Yeah.
We only get one. So make the best of that one. Now let's go back and talk about some other stuff.
Okay.
I see you looking down that list. What else you want to share?
Yes, because, well, when it comes to being wholesome or keeping them wholesome and safety, you know, I want to make sure, you know, we set the examples for our children.
Exactly.
You know, because what they see is what they do, you know. So, you know, the behaviors we do is what they see. So make sure they're not exposed to any violence at home, at school, anywhere.
Right.
Make sure you teach your children, especially your young children, to be aware of their surroundings, because there's a lot going on in the community.
God, it is.
You know, between sex trafficking and everything else. Our young people, you know, don't be so into your phone where you don't see the person walking up, you know, and get, you know, next to you. So make sure you teach your children to always be aware of their surroundings at the bus stop, anywhere.
Absolutely.
Because you just don't know. We live in a different world these days.
That's right.
You know, make sure your child doesn't have access to, you know, drugs or alcohol. You know, vaping is dangerous for children. Vaping is not safe for anyone, but definitely not for a child. And we are seeing so many children.
That was I had that on my list to ask about
what
vaping.
in the world, you know? I mean, so that is not safe for children, you know? So if your child is doing it, it needs to stop. You know, marijuana is not safe for children, you know? So there are just certain things that as a parent, you still have control over in your home environment. So make sure that home environment is safe for the child. Make sure your child's wearing their seatbelt, you know, when they get in the car. Make sure, you know, if they're riding a bike, they wear a helmet. You know, again, preventive
all those
measures.
safety factors.
These are
right
just
there.
Safety factors, you know, that a parent can do to keep that child wholesome and safe as well this school year.
When you think about these devices,
yes,
and when you see them, the young people, they're like this. Hello, Dr. Hall. Hi. Hi.
Exactly. They're forgetting how to communicate face to face with
but
people.
But doesn't this affect the brain?
It does. It's not good because it definitely limits their social abilities.
Right.
They forget how to speak. They forget how to actually communicate, how to have eye contact.
Exactly.
Because I walk in the room and they're like this. I said, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Put the phone down, let's talk, you know, and because they're so the social media, the devices, 5210, you know, they should have no more than, you know, the five fruits and vegetables, the 2.
Of course.
You know, no more than 2 hours of recreational screen time. That includes the phone, and that's per day. No more than 2 hours per day. They should not be on it, fixated on it all day long. You know, of course, 1 hour of physical activity, and we say do that physical activity with your child. Don't just tell your child to go out there.
Don't you do it. Go outside and jump, and I'm going to go.
Y'all go together. Do it as a family.
Exactly.
We want more family activities together. That brings the family closer. And then, of course, 0 sugary drinks a day. So 5210 says, you know, that we should be putting the devices down, having family time together, because it definitely, I wish I could make the cell phones and social media disappear, but I know it's here to stay. But we need to make sure we're monitoring it. Know who your child is communicating.
Now that's what I was going to next.
Because when I say that, that is my worst fear. You know, who is she chatting with? Who is he talking? You know, is this a grown person on the other line?
Thank you, that's pretending to be.
Pretending to be a child. So you need to be aware of what's going on in your child's life. There's no such thing as privacy. They say, "Mama, that's my private."
Really?
Okay. I'm sorry.
No way. Who paid the bill? I'm Mama.
I'm Mama. You know, and so be a parent. You know, and be there in their lives. Ask them how they're doing every day. When they come home, talk to them about how their day went. You know, be very involved. Be an involved parent. You know, and ask how are their friendships, how are their relationships, making sure they're making healthy relationships, because especially our teenagers.
Oh God, yes.
We want to make sure that they're in healthy relationships with others, you know, and making sure that, you know, no one's taking advantage of them. And also check on their mental, you know, make sure, because we have children who are getting depressed and who have anxiety. So you want to talk with your child, and if you see any signs of depression, if you see signs of anxiety, you know, reach out to your child's pediatrician or, you know, a counselor to get that addressed.
Doctor, what causes depression in a young person?
Well,
what do they have to worry about?
So I know, right? What do they have to worry about? Okay, and I'm gonna say we are seeing a lot more depression and anxiety in children than what we did back in the day. There has been some traumatic things that have happened between COVID and between just, you know, the school shootings, and there are things that have children, you know, really anxious, and some of them are getting depressed. Yes, there are, and it's sometimes we refer to them as traumatic events that have happened in a child's life, whether it's, you know, it's a divorce, it's someone they love, you know, who passed away. But children are, you know, suffering from depression and anxiety, you know, but we can teach them some coping skills. We can get that, you know, if they do have, you know, true anxiety, true depression, between counseling, coping skills. Sometimes we use medications to help them, you know, depending on how severe it is, you know, but we are seeing a lot of that. We're doing depression screens on our adolescents when they come into the office, you know, for their well visits. And so we can make sure, because sometimes they won't just come out and say, I'm depressed, I'm suicidal, but we have them do a questionnaire at that well visit when they're adolescents.
You know what else I found about that I've read up on that I did not know existed, but it does? It's called brokenhearted syndrome. I did not know. I've just been studying on that, right? I mean, but when I say that, because there's so many things that's happening today that didn't happen back when I was a child.
Right, we're in a different world.
We're in a whole different world. But my thing is this, and especially with the kids on these devices, I think the parents also should be very much so aware how to use this, how their privacy settings on here.
Right. Exactly.
There are timers on these that you can set, and don't let your child say, okay, oh, I'm done, and then they flip over and then they're doing something else.
Right, exactly.
You know?
We need to definitely do a better job as parents. And I know it's hard to do, but we need to try our very best, because that, you know, definitely, you know, they're getting so much information, sometimes misinformation, you know, from the device. You don't even have to look up anything. You don't have to even do a school report anymore. You can be like, Siri, do a report for me on, you know, Abraham Lincoln.
She'll do it.
And she'll do it. Don't let your child do that.
That's
you know,
right.
AI, artificial intelligence, you know, of course, you know, it's one of those things we want to make sure, you know, does not replace what our children are, you know, should be learning. We should make sure our children are doing the work they're supposed to be doing in the classroom, and not allowing artificial intelligence. When I say that's a big thing, especially in colleges. And
wow.
Yes, artificial intelligence.
You just said something that made me think of something, Dr. Hall. When we say children now, I think our young people, we may say, we're not just talking about the toddlers, we're talking about children all the way up.
All the way up, yes, from newborn all the way up.
Because
yes,
they're still our children.
Right, that's what we take care of. You know, we take care of them from newborn up until they become adolescents and teenagers.
Exactly.
And so we refer to all of them as children, and they're all precious, and we want to make sure, you know, whatever we can do as parents, you know, we do, because
no doubt
it's so important. When
no
I say
doubt
this is important.
And I think we've got a phone call. Jen just said somebody's on the phone. Let's see here. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Sonshine. Good morning, Sonshine. Good morning, Precious. Sarah, Dr. Grier. This is Drusilla Washington Thomas.
Good morning.
Being an educator. Good morning. One of the things you talk about, Dr. Grier, is we see so much in the school, diets of our young people today, childhood obesity, and the lack of exercise and physical activity for our kids. It's just running rampant in our community. So if you will, Dr. Grier, just talk about the diets, the importance of parents making sure their kids eating properly, eating before they come to school, and what they're eating while they're at school. That would help us a lot in the school system if our kids are properly nourished and get that physical activity as we did as children. Thank you, sweet Sarah. Thank you, Sonshine, for all you do. Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh, she did that well.
Yes,
I love it.
She did, and that is so important. You know, childhood obesity, of course, it is on a rise, and we need to do better. And it's because we're on the devices. We're not outside playing. We used to go outside and play all day. We used to
sweating up a storm.
Sweating up a storm from sun up to sundown during the summertime. I will be outside.
Yes, me too.
And so now we're not. They're in their rooms on the devices, you know, and so that physical activity component is so important, you know, the exercising and making sure we're getting that in, putting the devices down. And of course, you know, also healthy eating is so important for children.
Fast food.
Yeah, you know, we try to, you know.
I wish you could have seen her eyes. She said,
yeah, I know. Avoid it. You know, if you're gonna get, you know, try Subway, try something, a healthy option. You know, because there are so many things. You know, we try to do better. But there's fast food, and then there's fast food. We try to pick. You know, if you're gonna go fast food, try to pick something healthy on the menu. Try to limit how much fast food, of course, you eat. You know, make sure, you know, you're preparing meals at home when you prepare and you plan, and have the child actually involved in helping with prepare that meal. Because my daughter, I have her in there cooking now.
Does she really?
Yes. I'm like, come in here and cook, because she's more likely to eat it because she's so finicky. So we want to make sure we have a healthy diet. Make sure your children are getting a good breakfast in the morning. And because sometimes they'll go out the door without anything. Right. That's important. Make sure they eat something, whether they eat it at home or eat it at school. Make sure they get, you know, something for breakfast, you know, to give them the energy that their body, the fuel they need.
Do you recommend those healthy bars?
Yes, I think those are great if they have to grab a granola bar or some type
that's
of
what I'm talking about, granola bar.
Yes, I think that's perfect, and some milk or juice to go with it, you know, but we definitely want to make sure that they're getting in something for breakfast to give them the energy their bodies and their brains need, and then make sure they're eating lunch. Do not have them skipping meals, because sometimes they'll skip meals thinking that will help them with their weight. No, it will not. When your body is not getting fed, your body thinks it's, you know, in starvation mode, and so you don't lose weight. Your body's like, I'm gonna hold on and I'm gonna store it because I'm not getting fed. So you want to give it something for breakfast, for lunch. Parents, cook a healthy dinner. You know, give them what their bodies need, and make sure you use the portions that they need. Do not, you know, give them. They don't need, you know, the big portion sizes. You know, small portions on the plate. You know, the CDC and others, they have.
I got another question for you. How many calories you think should a child have per day? Is it based on?
It is based on their age, and it's based on if we're trying to, you know, do weight loss versus, you know, if we're trying to maintain. So it really depends on the child's age, and then of course, you know, if they're in weight loss mode or if they're just trying to maintain. So it can vary from, you know, 1,200 to 2,000, you know, 1,500 to 2,000 calories. Just depends on the age of the child.
But if they come see you, you can tell them.
Oh yeah, I can tell them. I can give them a handout on, You know, and I can give them sample menus on,
Yeah.
you know, what a
really?
sample menu looks like for a 1,800 diet, you know, 1,800 calorie per day diet, you know, and we can also refer them to nutritionists. We can work with them on their weight because, you know, unfortunately, obesity can lead to the child getting, you know, unfortunately picked on and bullied at school, and then that can lead to depression.
Absolutely.
And, you know, because, I mean, I was picked on. I was obese as a child. I'm still, you know, trying to work on my weight, but as a child, I remember.
You look good.
Thank you, thank you. But I remember getting picked on. You know, I remember that. And I mean, when I say that can do something to a child's mental state, it can. So it's important for us to be more proactive. I wish we had more resources here in town for our children, you know, to be involved in that, you know, that stress the importance of exercise and eating healthy. But that is a great question, you know, because we are seeing obesity, but it's definitely important to put the devices down, get outside, or, you know, even inside, do some aerobics.
Inside.
Do something in, because it's hot outside.
Yeah.
So inside, right? You know, do some aerobics. But parents, do it with your child. Don't just tell your child to do it. You do it with them, because if your whole family's doing it together, you're more likely to succeed. And then go to the physician if your child is obese. You know, there are, you know, certain things we need to be screening for. We're seeing type 2 diabetes
in children.
In children, yes. We are seeing it. We're seeing high cholesterol. We're seeing high blood pressure. So obesity can lead to so many other things if we don't get it under control. So now is the time when they're young. We talked about how our metabolism changes as we get older. You know, it does. And so as children, you are more likely to be able to lose it and be able to make those behavioral changes that you need to keep it off for life.
Wow. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this, because I've got a question about how we can get those kids started, because I know some friends of mine, they live at McDonald's. Okay, nah. But we're talking with Dr. Grier Hall today, and if you've got questions and want to be a part of this, please call us up at 850-432-7768, and we can have that conversation together right here. Sunshine's Corner on Blve TV. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your men wear needs.
This is Wayne at Icon Automotive in Robertsdale, Alabama, and I wanted to tell you more about our powertrain warranty forever. It comes with any vehicle we sell that has 80,000 miles or less at no additional cost to you. We put our vehicles through a tough safety and mechanical inspection before it can have the powertrain warranty forever, giving you a peace of mind with your purchase. This warranty is good anywhere in the country, and it covers 100% of parts and labor with no mileage limit, and is covered as long as you own the vehicle. Come pick out your dealership car at non-dealership pricing with the powertrain warranty forever at Icon Automotive.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Go back to being a kid again. Head on over to Bubba's Sweet Spot. We've got house-made caramels, fudge, pralines, marshmallows, and lots and lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Looking for more traditional candy? We've got you. Our walls are covered head to toe in all the classics, from taffy to gummies and lollipops to gumballs. And don't forget our ice cream. With endless toppings and dipped cones, we've got what you're craving. Let us take you back to a time when every problem could be solved with candy at Bubba's Sweet Spot.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. Thank you for tuning in to the hottest spot in town, where we talk about the difficult conversation, but we let you know that it's really safe to have that conversation here. Only making a difference is what we're trying to do right here in our community. And I want to thank Dr. Grier Hall for coming in, because she's sharing some valuable information.
Thank you.
We were talking about the obesity factor with kids and what parents, how we want to have them learn to plan, to start prepare the meals.
Right.
Instead of just saying, okay, well, we'll run by McDonald's and get this right here.
Right.
And you also made another another point. Now in restaurants, they're putting up how many calories?
Exactly.
I mean, the grams of fat.
Right. They're putting it up there. So you can't say, I didn't know that Whopper Jr. had, 1,200 calories.
That's
well,
right.
it says it up there on the menu now.
That's right.
Because a lot of times, if you can't make excuses about, and knowing it now allows you to say, okay, do I want to use up 2/3 of my calories for today on a burger? Or do I want to go and get something from Subway or go home and make a sandwich, that has fewer calories in it, because we want to make sure that the parents are putting healthy options in the home. Don't buy the junk food in the first place.
Right.
Don't buy the, the Cokes and the sugary beverages in the first place. Drinking water is so important for children. And a lot of times if they're not drinking enough water, that can lead to problems.
And that's all going to show up in school.
It will. It's going to impact how that child does, academically, how they're going to perform, how they're going to feel about themselves, about, and so it affects them in so many ways, that what they're putting in their body, as far as their diet, it definitely can impact how they perform academically.
And Dr. Hall, with you being a doctor and you see a lot of the parents with the younger people, do you run into this, and I'm just being real, sometimes the child tells the parent what to do, and the parent kind of fall in and say, the child is really leading you, and you're not being the mom.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying that as an overall.
Yes, we do see a lot of that going on, but it's important for the parent to step up.
To be
the parent.
I didn't say be your friend.
No, we're not friends. I'm your parent. You're the child.
That's right. I'm not saying that you gotta like me.
You don't have to like me. You probably won't.
You won't. Because there are a lot of things.
Because you're not going to agree with what I'm telling you, and that's okay. That is okay. But this is how we're going to do it, because you're the parent. And of course, and you're the child. It's important for making sure that those boundaries are in place. Because if they're not, then you will see the child doing whatever they want,
falling out on the floor in the store,
right, and making poor decisions.
Right.
And so it's important.
Sorry, doctor.
No, you're fine. It happens. Trust me.
When I see them in the store, screaming and hollering and kicking on the floor,
yes, it's important.
I said, let me have them for 2 days.
Yes, okay. I know. We don't believe in corporal punishment, but we understand it's important to make sure the parents are being the parents and taking care of the children, and make sure they get enough sleep as well. I didn't mention that.
There you go.
Oh, sleep. Okay. And don't just wait till the night before school starts and make sure they go to bed.
You recommend them doing that now.
Now. Go ahead and get them back into whatever sleep pattern they need to get back into, because it takes your body a few days, sometimes up to a week, to get back into that normal cycle of sleep, and getting them up early in the morning, depending on if they're in elementary, middle school, or high school. But go ahead and start getting them back to bed early now, getting at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep, because they need the sleep.
That's right.
They really do.
And then coming home in the afternoon, gonna fall out.
Exactly. So yes, make sure they're getting to bed, getting to bed on time, that whatever they need to get that good sleep at night is
But I want everybody to realize something. Do you see everything that we have talked about today, how all of this is all of these components, right? Equals a great child in school.
Exactly, it does. It really does. Everything we talked about will impact that child's performance.
Exactly.
And so, whether it's from a medical standpoint, whether it's from a physical standpoint, nutritional, standpoint, and just making sure, even spiritually,
come on now.
From a spiritual, at our church, Zion Hope, Primitive Baptist Church, we believe in making sure that the children, Pastor Mason, he even has a special prayer that he does for all the children going back to school right before school starts. So it's important to make sure, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, that you make sure from a spiritual standpoint your child has a relationship with someone, a higher being.
Because if you don't have that relationship with you'll fall for anything.
You will. And sometimes that will be the only person they can call on in certain situations where there's no one else around, but they're going to call on him and call on Jesus to help them in that time, whether it's on a test or they're in a situation with someone at school. They can call on him. So it's important to make sure spiritually your children are also ready for school, making sure we talked about mentally, from a safety standpoint, making sure everything around that child in the home, and making sure you're setting good examples for your children, making sure you're their biggest role model as a parent. So make sure what you're doing, you are okay with your child doing it or saying it.
Exactly.
At school. So, it's important as parents to make sure we set that example, for our children.
And something else I think that this is also around that, because sometimes when kids are with that person, I don't want to feel out of place because if I do this and they're doing that, but teach them how to be that strong person.
Right. They have to
say,
be their
okay,
own person. And
own
it's okay.
person.
They have to be their own
not
person.
Gonna do that.
I'm not going to do that. I know I shouldn't be doing that. And it's okay to, walk away.
That's right.
And peer pressure is so big out there, where children are going to be easily influenced to do something just because, Susie's doing it.
That's right.
Well, you're not Susie.
That's
okay?
right.
So you need to, make sure you do what I taught you to do as a parent, and
no doubt.
you know better than that. And so it's important to teach your children about peer pressure and how sometimes your friends may be doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Listen to that little voice in
They
your
hear it.
ear. They hear, that's your mama or that's God. That's somebody telling you, good and well, you shouldn't do that. Walk away.
And sometimes, Dr. Hall, when you do that, they'll follow you.
Yeah, exactly.
Set that trend.
Right, exactly. You can
because
be the
if
one
you
that makes a
stand it,
difference.
you be the trendsetter.
Exactly.
In a positive way.
In a positive way.
Instead of that one being bullying.
Exactly.
And you'll see those that's hanging with him just to try to be in that little clique.
Exactly.
They'll walk away.
They will walk away. So when we talk about healthy relationships, at school, knowing what your children are doing, be involved, be the involved parent. Go to the, the PTA meetings. Go to whatever, orientations that, that are there for you as a parent, but be involved in your child's, academic,
That's right. If they're in sports, go to the games.
Go to the games.
PTA meetings,
go. Be there.
All there.
Be there.
Don't drop them off.
Don't drop them off. Know how your children are doing. Don't, wait till that report card comes out that says, oh my goodness, my child's not. Look at your children's grades. You have access now.
That's right. You get it online.
Everything's online now. So make sure you know how your child's doing academically. If there's a problem, reach out to your child's teacher, sooner than later to see what you can do as a parent to help your child to improve in whatever subject that may be.
No doubt. I tell you, everybody, we're touching everything from A to Z today. So look, we're talking with Dr. Michelle Grier Hall, and she's touching it, telling it just like it is, even with the spiritual part that we got to make sure that we do. Listen, you can still be a part of this conversation now. 850-432-7768. And I'm sure she's reading that paper again. She's got something she's going to share with us as soon as we come back right here on Sunshine's Corner.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blve TV. My name is Quince Dieter, and I am Blve TV.
Hey fellas, my name is Daniel Denny, owner of the Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering from ED and the bedroom has become your worst nightmare, where you no longer have the self-confidence you used to have, it doesn't have to be that way. We can help. You're not alone. We have over a 90+% success ratio with our patients. I'm so confident you'll be pleased with the results that if we can help you, there's no charge for the office visit. I'll personally cover it.
Hello, my name is Eric, and this was my first visit to Little John's. The selection, the pricing here, and the customer service were outstanding. I would definitely recommend. The staff was very friendly, and they'll get you what you need.
Hi, this is John with Little John's Big and Tall here in Pensacola, Florida at 5700 North Davis Highway. Check us out at littlejohnsbigandtall.com, where we can take care of you with extra large up to 14X and large tall to 6X tall.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. Wow, you know what? When you're having a great time and you're covering things that are so important to the community, the clock just seems to tick so fast. But you know, we're going to go back to some things that we got to make sure. Glasses.
Yes.
Eyewear. Hygiene.
Yes.
All of that.
All of that is important. You know, we do screenings for vision when the children come into the office for their well checkups. So it's important if your child needs to go see an optometrist that they go see the optometrist, that they get whatever you know, glasses that they may need, corrective lenses they need to make sure they can see. Because if they can't see the board, if they can't see whatever's up there, you know, that can definitely impact them. If they have glasses and they're broken, get them fixed.
Exactly.
Because sometimes they already have the glasses, but they're broken.
Don't put a piece of tape on the side.
Don't put a piece of tape on the side. Go get a new pair of glasses for your child so they can be ready for school, you know, on day one. You know, make sure they have their teeth cleaned every 6 months. Get that dental cleaning done every 6 months, you know, because we want to make sure they don't have a cavity, because that can cause pain.
God, yes.
You know, so we want to make sure, you know, not just from a medical, but from optometry, from dental, you know, they're getting all of those necessary checkups as well.
And I really want to touch on, for especially parents, for the young ladies.
Yes.
Let's teach them
yes
how to be fresh.
Yes.
You know?
Because it's important to be fresh.
Yeah.
You know, our
throughout the day.
Throughout the day, you know, and you know, so when we talk about good hygiene, of course, we talk about it with boys and girls.
Right.
You know, because you know, parents always ask me, at what age should a child start wearing deodorant? I'm like, when they start having body odor. When you smell, then they definitely, that's time. There's not a certain age, you know, where, you know, body odor.
Oh, she's only 5, or she's only 6.
Yeah,
please.
When they have body odor, what makes body odor is bacteria on the skin, and along with perspiration. And when you know there's a fermenting process that goes on, it creates this body odor. And so body odor can be in any child. They do not have to be a teenager to have body odor.
I think that's what some parents think.
I know, but but it's important to make sure your child is scrubbing and all of those
with
soap and water, you know, every day, sometimes twice a day. And make sure you do the sniff.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, do that with your child. Teach them how to do that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta taught me this.
Yes.
So he said, if you blow it and smell it, your breath.
Okay, exactly. Same thing for
your body.
And so we have to make sure we teach our young men and our young ladies, you know, how to be fresh and clean. I did a talk on being fresh and clean.
That's
it was a wrap, but you have to, because you don't want that child going to school.
No, because the kids may even talk about it.
They will, and you do
somebody
not
want to
want
ask you something, Dr.
Okay,
Grier.
awesome.
Let's see here. Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. It is I, Dr. Martin, calling in.
Good
morning, How you doing this morning?
We're wonderful.
Let me tell you, I am enjoying the show. Y'all are tripping me out because the stuff that y'all talk about is stuff that I talked to my foster parents about hygiene. It's like, you be surprised, like the children that come in, no matter what age they are, they have no knowledge about how to keep their hygiene together and how to clean themselves. And I want to say good morning to Dr. Grier.
Grier Hall.
And hope.
Good
Grier Hall.
Uh-huh.
Good morning to you. And I tell them, I say, you know what? When a child goes in the restroom, listen to the sound of the water. The sound gonna change when a child is in the water and when they're out of the water. Listen to how long they're in there, and then you do have to check them. I say, because if that water temperature or density doesn't change, they're not taking no shower, and they coming right back out of there.
Exactly.
And you have to, sometimes you have to go in there and teach them, because a lot of these children never been taught. And they be like 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, and they never been taught really how to clean themselves.
Absolutely. I tell you, and we're getting that all across. And thank you for always calling and checking with us, Dr. Martin.
Yes, and one more thing I wanted to say, I appreciate Dr. Grier Hall bringing in the spiritual aspect, because as a child growing up, my father made sure that every day that we stood in a circle, the whole family stood in a circle before they went to work and before we went to school, and we said a prayer.
Yes.
And we all took turns doing the prayer of that day before we left the home, and made sure that we was covered by His grace.
Awesome.
Amen.
That's love it. That is wonderful. Yes, pray over your children.
Amen.
Pray with your children.
Pray with them.
Pray with them, pray over them.
Teach them how to.
Teach them how to pray. Let them lead the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is so important, definitely, to do that. So thank you for that
Thank
advice.
you there, Dr. Martin.
You're welcome. Thank you. And y'all have a blessed day. And I love the pearls in the chuck.
I know.
All right.
I would have worn that.
Next time we're going to do it, okay?
Okay.
We're going to do it. Because I got an idea that I'm going to get all of us together right here.
I love it. I got mine ready to go.
All right, girl.
All right, you tell me.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. And,
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But everybody, please now, I want Dr. Hall to, we got 4 minutes. Sum it up.
Okay. We want to keep our children healthy, happy, and wholesome this upcoming school year. And as parents, as educators out there, as adults, the village that surround those children, we can do this together. We want to make sure that they're successful. We want to be preventing things that we know we can prevent. Make sure they go into their physician's office if you have any concerns. Go into the school, talk with the teacher if you have any concerns about their academics, but be a proactive, be that parent, that the teacher knows is going to show up and knows is going to be there for that child. So we want to make sure that, we're doing that, and we can do that, this upcoming school year with these tips that we've shared today. So I'm hoping that the parents have learned something, and hand sanitizer. That's one thing I didn't mention, but send your child to school with a little thing of hand sanitizer so they can clean their hands before they eat, because they don't clean their hands at all. But make sure, we're cleaning hands, washing them with soap and water when we can, because we want to prevent the germs and prevent the infections.
Preventive measures, it works. Get those eyes checked, go back to those vaccinations.
Yes, the vaccines, get their well checkups, get all the screenings, that we typically will do to make sure your child is healthy, because we can do this. And as a community, we want to make sure our children are ready for August the 12th.
No doubt, it's right around the corner.
Yes.
Now, if a person want to get in touch with you?
Yes, please call me. We open in 1 week, and I'm so excited. I'm with Pensacola Pediatrics. I'm so happy to be joining our, my highly esteemed colleagues with Pensacola Pediatrics, Dr. Jaluk and I. We'll be at 850-471-5060. We're at 5868 Creek Station Drive, right off of Airport, where we've always been. We'll just be
over there.
Right over there. So we encourage you, please call, schedule an appointment. We'll be happy to see you. Just give us a call, and we look forward to seeing all of our patients again and continuing to provide, wonderful care to the Pensacola community.
And Dr. Hall, thank you for being who you are.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing all that you do, the education, the work, the knowledge, the care that we see that you do so freely.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's just a fact.
I love it. It's my passion. This is what I love to do. So I appreciate you having me.
And it's not the last time, because no, we're gonna do, like when I said that.
Okay.
We're gonna do this.
I know. I'm ready. Thank you, Sunshine.
No, thank you. And everybody, please make sure. Don't delay. Now, we've got to August 12th, but don't wait till August 11th to say, oh, I haven't done this. It's time now to get prepared. Get prepared for your children. You know what you got to do. And Dr. Hall has given it to us today from top to bottom. I want to thank her for all that she does and continue to do in our community. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not even decided what pediatrician you want to use for your child, here's a lady that you can talk to and just get started. Don't wait till next week. Do it now. And I'll leave you as I do every single day, my friends, because it is absolutely a fact, and I believe this from my heart. Never, ever, ever lose your focus. Never lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first, I do believe with everything in me that you're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow, it is Wednesday, our midweek motivation, and do I have some motivation coming your way. So until then, my friends, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. And thank you, Dr. Hall. Continue to do what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All righty.